Hi, I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design, and today I want to show you how I make the safety base for the new Squirrel Cage 3. There's quite a bit to it. It's the most complicated part of the stove. I just thought it'd be an interesting video to show you how I actually make it. I've got part of it done, but I can explain to you how I got to where I am right now by showing you. I start out with a piece of 2-inch stock, which I put in the lathe and then turn down to 1 3/4. This stock doesn't come in all the sizes, cutesy sizes you want. It's kind of limited, and I can't buy a size for everything I do, so I usually buy something larger and turn it to the size I want. And this, to be fair, isn't quite 1 3/4, it's a little different. But that's how I get to that point. Then I put it in the lathe and drill the center, and then go in with an end mill and make the bottom flat so it doesn't have the angle of the end of the drill on it. Then I go in and turn a shoulder on it down to here. Then I cut it off in the bandsaw. Then I put it back in the lathe and turn the bottom so I'll have this protruding to interlock with the lid, so I can put it in the vise and peen this down to lock that base onto the floor plate. Okay, now we get to do the fun part. Now I've got to go over to the mill. I've got to go over to the milling machine and mill in this slot. And I'm going to put that on there, and once I get it set up and show you the first couple of things, then I'm going to go to high speed so you'll see how many passes and how much work is involved in cutting this slot. It's kind of cool. So let's get going. Okay, I've got a blank here that hasn't been milled yet, and the first thing I have to do is clean all the chips and debris out of these jaws, because if there's a piece of any debris underneath it, it'll be off, the dimensions will be off the thickness of that chip. So you want it as clean as you can get it. You also want to make the bottom of your part as completely clean. Then put it in, move it around a little bit, make sure it seats and doesn't catch on any of the jaws, and then lock it down. And you want it really locked down, because if it moves while you're cutting, then wherever it moves, your part's going to be off that much. Okay, let me zoom the camera in here a little bit. See if I can get a better picture. Okay, I've installed a 5/16 4-flute tin-coated end mill, and I've got it all set up to be in a 1/16 of an inch from the edge, and the depth is set so that I can only go so far, and I'll still have a 1/16 thickness in the floor. And I'm going to turn it on. I've got my rotary table at 0, and I'm going to drill one hole at 0. Then I'm going to go to 300 and drill the other hole. And the distance in between 0 and 300 will be where the tunnel goes through for the nipple. So let's get started. Okay, I've got my two holes, one at 0 and one at 300. Now I'm going to come down and I'm going to crank around a little bit into the area where the tunnel is going to be and set my mill there. And what I want to do is start the mill up, and I don't want to go all the way down through this because the nipple is going to go through there, but I want to cut a little bit of a trench in here, 50,000 steep trench, so when the alcohol runs down, rather than running out onto the nipple, it'll catch the trench and run to the left and the right. So I've got to cut that first. Okay, I've cut that little trough right in there. You can see it. Try to get on the back side of that right there. So when the alcohol runs down, it'll catch that trough and run into the big trough. Now I'm back to 0, and I'm going to make my first cut. So that's going to be 1 revolution on the feed knob on my mill. And I just moved it 1 revolution. I'm going to turn it on and start milling it. I'm going to mill all the way around till I get over here to 300, and when I come up to 300 on my wheel, I'm going to stop, go down 1 revolution, and then go back, and keep going back and forth till I hit the bottom setting, and I'm at the bottom. So, and I'll do this in high speed, so I'll just turn the camera on and do it, and then when I edit this, I will put it in like 8x speed. So here we go. Okay, that was the last pass. Now we should have a finished part with a nice clean trench milled into it. And there we have it. And that's what's involved in making this part. Now my next step, I'm going to mill a flat spot right there and then drill in to the inner chamber and thread it and put a nipple in, and then it'll be done. I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design. Get out and hike, take a friend, enjoy the great outdoors, and more important than anything, try to have a really great day, and try to have some fun today. And if you don't, do it twice tomorrow. Bye-bye.